What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. Here we are. It is a nice, slow descent down to these levels that we've been looking for. As we're moving lower, to be completely fair, we are losing a little bit of volume. A lot of volume to start off this candle already, though. In all fairness, we have about half as much volume as the last candle, and we're not even an hour into this. So I think we really could, today could be the day, the 11th of March, right? We're right in the beginning now. We're not even 50 minutes into the new day. Today could be the day that we find our low, you guys. If not, it's coming very, very soon. I would expect it's coming very, very soon for a couple of reasons. One, if we look at this on a daily time frame on the RSI, we're already in the oversold zone. Generally speaking, this is kind of where within a few days time, or at least a week or so, things tend to turn around, right? We got oversold right here on this day, on the 24th, Monday, right here, right? And that was right here on this day. And 1, 2, 3, 4 days later, we found our low, right? And then obviously we're lower now, but 4 days later, we found our low. We're oversold here. We're 1 day later. It could be within the next 3 days, if not even today, I think that we find our low. And another reason why I'm thinking that could be is not just because of, I didn't know that the camera was dead. There we go. We're going to fix that, though. There we go, I hope. All right, cool. Is the 4 hour. The 4 hour time frame as well has been oversold for a little bit. We do have bullish divergence showing on the 4 hour. I'm anticipating, guys, because we do have, I think, a little bit more to go. I'm anticipating that a lot of people might be going long. They might be anticipating a bounce, something like that, because we have bullish divergence. And what's going to happen is Bitcoin will get rid of this bullish divergence. We will have a lower low in the RSI. And instead of looking at the bullish divergence, we should be looking at where we found support back here. I think we'll find support around a 13 or a 16 read on the 4 hour RSI. Again, I have my RSI set to a 10 on the length there, not a 14 like most people do. So if the numbers are different, they might be different. But nonetheless, even if it's set to a 14, whatever your readings are, it'll be congruent with these lows back here. So I'm assuming we will get rid of this bullish divergence, and that's where the low will be likely. Okay. But I really do think being oversold right now on the 4 hour and the daily gives us some oomph to the downside, and it's coming. We're in the midst of it now. The target area we're looking for specifically is probably about $73,000. I think that we are going to go just below 73K, maybe even right at the 1414, but something that's not below 72K is what I'm anticipating. Of course, I could be wrong. I know I'm never wrong, you guys. You all know that's very true, but we could go to 69.4K, maybe even 65.8K. It's possible. A lot of cryptos have seen a 1886 extension, and Bitcoin's not even afraid of seeing its 2272. I personally don't think we go below 70K, and even if we do, 69K would likely hold, because the golden ratio is a very prominent area to hold as well. But if we look at this from the overall high, and we just associate it with what we've seen so far in this bull market, that would be a 32% drop. At the most, what I would expect maybe is like a 36.5 drop, but I'm thinking overall it'll be probably closer to a 33% drop, like right on the money, maybe 33 to 34% of a drop. This drop, you guys, from a high to a low here is going to be very similar to the drop that we had, but that took us dramatically longer. This took us almost twice the time that it's taking now, okay? Fear is at all-time lows, or all-time highs, I guess. I don't know. It's the reading's at a low technically, but the fear's at a high. I mean, this is the highest read we've seen in this whole bull market, okay? And we are at low prices. This is not normally bode well for the bears, at least not in the long term. We are at the precipice of turning this around. As far as time goes, as far as price goes, you really never know. Absolutely, it would make sense to find support here based on the bullish butterfly pattern that we're dealing with, based on prior areas of resistance coming to find support. I don't know why my camera keeps shitting out, you guys. I'm glad we're going to be fixing this here pretty soon, but it might be sometime at the end of this month, because we've got some other stuff going on, unfortunately, but that's okay. But a little bit of time to have to deal with it now. Anyways, I just had to talk about it. Now that I'm talking about it, it's deciding to work fine. Anyways, the bullish butterfly pattern that we have, it wouldn't really allow for you to go below $70,000, right? You could go, there are alternative harmonic patterns, but beyond that, you've got prior areas of resistance as support. We're dropping about 33%, which is what we saw here already. This already is one of the larger drops of the cycle, okay? and we are at some of the most fearful times that we've been in this cycle, right? We're even more fearful now than we were at the lows over here, let alone any of the other drops. So I'm not assuming this, as far as time goes, I'm not assuming that this takes too much longer. As far as price goes, though, you never know. You really never know whenever we could see some kind of drop that literally is just like a flash crash, crazy madness, just tanks all the way down. You know, you could see something that goes all the way down to 65K. 64K, and Bitcoin could recover just as quick as it goes down. Bitcoin loves to throw people off. In fact, at its last low, that's exactly what it saw, was just a crazy wick down. I mean, if we take that into consideration, from the opening price to the low price, that was a 15% drop in a week, okay? Here we are. Let's see. I think it was at this close. Here was last week's close right here, right? This chart is weird. Maybe I shouldn't use the index chart. We'll use Coinbase's chart, because I don't want people to be like, why are you taking it from there? I know what I'm doing. The charts might not make it so clear. So from last week's close, if we dropped 15% like we did the last time, a 15% drop takes us below where I would expect us to go. That takes us to 68.2K. Very possible area, fine to do, you know, and let alone if we see something that's bigger, who knows? At that rate, I suppose we could take a low to a high here. Not the fake out high, but the real high. I mean, if you look at that, the golden ratio is right there too. There's a lot of support, man. The further down the ladder we go, once we get below 73K, once we're getting, if we get below 70K, there's a lot of support in that mid 60s area, you guys. There's a lot of support on price and fibs and just all kinds of stuff. Not just fib retracements, but fib extensions. I don't believe the bull market's over. I know a lot of people are discouraged, and trust me, I feel that. I understand why a lot of people are discouraged. I thought this move was going to happen weeks ago, months ago, but to the upside. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to get this, but to the upside. And but believe me, I'm just as discouraged, if not more discouraged, than a lot of you. But I don't let that affect my psyche. I don't let that affect my game plan with the markets. We are still holding higher lows. We are still in a very bullish trend this cycle, right? And there are a lot of bullish narratives behind crypto right now that are going to inevitably prevail. But right now, people are not thinking rationally. At least that's my perspective. If we look at this on a 4-hour basis, let's wrap this up, okay? 4-hour basis, again, we're expecting that we go a little bit lower. Volume is picking up on this 4-hour candle compared to the last one, so I think it begins now. Today will likely be the day that we find the low. If not today, probably tomorrow, but, you know, on a 4-hour basis, I would even say that could be within the next 3 days, but I think it will be today, to be completely fair. Unless it's more methodical, unless we like find support and work, unless it's something like this. If it takes time, then okay, maybe then it'll be 3 days from now or 4 days from now. But if it is one fell swoop, kind of like I think it's going to be for the rest of the day, who knows, man? Maybe by the end of today, we might even close the day green. We might hit the low and then come back up and bounce green, because Bitcoin does like to bounce. Something like that really could happen. This butterfly pattern, this bullish butterfly pattern, if you guys look up bullish butterfly, I forgot if butterfly had 2 L's in it. Harmonic pattern. There's a whole bunch of websites. In fact, I suggest, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if you're ever looking up anything when it comes to TA, you will find that if you're scouring the web for a resource, somebody to tell you what's going on, and then you go to another website, and then another website, and then another source, and then another source, they're all going to tell you the same thing to a certain degree, but with little tweaks, little differences here and there, right? It's not as quote-unquote specific, and sometimes it is. Sometimes there's 4 people that don't know what they're talking about, but one person knows what they're talking about, and it really is specific, and then the whole general thesis makes it a generality, but there's one person who's very good at it and has, you know, like, you have to be analytical and decide that for yourself and determine what's actually useful in practice, but most of the time, it is generalities. So if you see one bullish butterfly, I mean, generally speaking, to be completely fair with harmonics, there's not generalities. It tends to be a very precise thing. But if you see slight differences from one website to another or one resource to another, that happens. That's normal. Just it's on you to apply that in your technical analysis and see what actually works for you, right? Anyways, bullish butterfly pattern. This is what this is, right? We talked about it yesterday. From X to A, that would be this move here, right? X to A right here. That's your X to A. It's this move, high, low to high, right there. And if you were to take that X to A pattern from a low to a high, just bear with me. I know it sounds weird using variables and stuff like that. I mean, it's not technically a variable, but just using letters to represent points. I know it can be confusing, but from a low to a high, coming down to the 786 to find support, that's exactly what you have here, 786 to find support, right? X to A, 786 retracement. And then from A to B, you get an 886 or a 382 retracement somewhere in the range there. If we take this, so it would be from this low to this high now, you've got the 886 retracement. Between the 382 and the 886, it's perfect. It literally is perfect. So far, so good on the butterfly, right? Now, the final part here, the final part is C to D. Right, we're forming that now, and that is a 1618 to 2618 extension off of B to C. 1618, 2618 is like this, right? So from a low to a high, 1618 to your 2618. If you don't have these extensions, you just double click your fibs, and you can upload them, unlock them, type it in yourself, right? You could write 69, dude. Like who cares? You know, like whatever you want to do in there. 1618 to 2618 extension, okay. So the 1618 is right here at 75.1K. The 2618 is all the way down here at 66K. Some of you might be thinking, well, hold on, C-Zar. I thought you said that we weren't going to go below 72K. Why are you confident? If that's the case, how come we have this big range? Because it's not just that, right? It has to adhere not just with B to C, but X to A too. X to A, you've got this extension here. That's a 1272 to a 1618, right? It's more refined than just one fib. So X to A, 1272 to 1618, low here to high. We have these fibs overlap now, so it's easier to see. We'd have the 1272 here and the 1618 here, which actually lines up very well with the 2272 right there. It is possible we could go to 69K, but I have other reasons for believing. That we will not go below 72K, mainly off of a potential fractal pattern that we might be forming, something that I've seen before where it literally bounced right off the 1886, which in this case would be right at $72,500, something like that could happen. But the range, a little bit more refined now, would technically be accepted as something between about $74.1 thousand to approximately $69,000. That would be the low if this is a bullish butterfly pattern. And so far, everything is perfect with it. Everything lines up. So I'm assuming that this is going to be our area. More specifically than that, I'm assuming this will be our area right in there, right at about $72.5 to $72,000. That's what I'm thinking. We're at $77,500 now. We've got $5,000 more to go. After that, it'll be time to go, you guys. It'll be time to rip. Oftentimes with these bullish harmonic patterns, you do see rather phenomenal moves that can take you at least to the middle of the pattern, which would bring us back up to 85K. Going from 75K to 85K is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. It's not new all-time highs, but it's a big deal. And a good bit of the time, especially in bullish environments, we've got all the right narratives, man. And it might not feel like it, but I think we are in a relatively bullish environment. This is the time to get greedy when other people are fearful. Oftentimes you do extend past these. Right now, this butterfly is not going. It doesn't tell us how far we're going to go as far as new all-time highs go. But if we do go to the area that I'm thinking we're going to go to, which is basically here, I would anticipate off of this low by the end of March, probably even earlier than like the 20th of March. We might see, and it depends. It depends on how quick this low comes. If it happens by the end of today, okay, then maybe this stands true. But I would think in a very short amount of time we'll see prices back above 100K is what I'm trying to say. It's not that once we find the low we have to move up in a straight line. That's not necessarily what I'm trying to imply here. But we will stair step or move up in a very fast fashion, one way or another. We're going to get up to prices that are back above 100K in probably a matter of weeks. It might be like a matter of 10 days or less. It depends on how fast this move down happens. It might be a matter of 20 days. But even 20 days from now, it'll still technically be the end of March there. So at some point here, we're going to be moving back up above 100K. We just have to find our low first and then see how we recover. If we do recover, and we find resistance at 83 to 84K, if we find significant resistance there, and we were to get back below this 100 level, that might not look good, you guys. We might have lower to go still. Because again, this butterfly, it's only good for a bounce at least up to like this area here. If we don't break through this area, or if we find resistance that takes us back below this low here, that could be a very bad sign that this was all we got and we've got lower to go. So that's something to be aware of as well. I'm not anticipating that, but I also did not anticipate we'd be this low to begin with. So I've got nothing else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If anybody's wondering, if you're like, how, I should have probably addressed this in the beginning of the video when I talked about it, but how is it that we have bullish divergence and you're telling me it's just going to keep going lower and invalidate the divergence? Well, divergences only look like divergences until they're proven to be true. How do you prove it to be true? You need a 4-hour candle to close green, and sometimes that's not even enough. You can have a false signal. 2 candles would be good, but oftentimes on a shorter term time frame, 2 candles, by that time the move has already happened. So divergence is tricky. It's not as simple as people think it is, and that's why it's so tricky, because a lot of people, market makers, know that a lot of novices in technical analysis, they'll be looking at this and thinking that they found the golden ticket to a pump. Which is why, maybe we do move up a little bit from here and then drop more just to sucker those people in that think they know what they're doing. But likely we do probably continue to move down. It's not confirmed until we get a green 4-hour candle. If we move up, I would assume it's a wick and then we still move back down. If we were to get above $91,000, that's what it would take to invalidate this whole idea that we're going lower. Until then, I'm not convinced that we're done going lower. That's all I got. Hit the like button. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.